Welcome to Point to Rise, your podcast that gives you permission to dream big, take messy action, and turn your talent into profit while turning your back on perfection. My name is Susanne Christy, high performance and mindset coach, former international ballerina, profitable entrepreneur, and founder of Point to Rise, a movement designed to empower dancers. It is my mission to use my own story as an inspiration for today's generation of dancers. And now sit back, stretch, warm up, or sip your coffee and love learning how much it matters to point at yourself first to rise to all that you are capable of.
And we are so back. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon for you. I don't know what I want to say. There's a lot to say today. However, we are going to talk about how to sell yourself, and not in a dirty kind of way, as I dare to mention that, but in a necessary and authentic way, and why that will actually bring you more money. And let's start with, what's your week?
My week was great. I actually just before this recorded my first Sweat and Swagger fitness class. So I'm super excited. I'm really excited to bring this to the public. So this last week was prepping for that. And really exciting. I'm going to offer this first one for free to release it to make it accessible to more people. So the link will be gone by the time this airs, but anybody that's listening, if you want to check it out, shoot me a message and I will send you that link for free for you to check it out, because I believe in this brand, and I believe in having people see if it resonates. So yeah.
Can we talk about the vision and mission behind it and why you're putting it online versus teaching in person?
Yeah. So with this was really the outlet for me last fall to find a way to move my body in a different way, in a way that was free, that was about you showing up as your beautiful self and moving your body in the way that feels great for you. And that was a first for me. That was never been allowed to do that before. So it was an exploration for a few months of just taking classes and really saying, I can get behind this. So now I am certified in it. And so I bring it to a virtual space to invite a wider scope to be inclusive in this and build a community with this. And what I see is allowing people to feel comfortable without being around each other in a mirror, staring at anybody else, just being able to find their own space and move the way it feels right for them. So I really feel that this is an outlet for me to help a deeper body love and a deeper appreciation for how just gorgeous we are, for you to find your inner badass, your inner goddess, your inner light, whatever your inner is, that this will be a space that invites you to explore that with me, but in a space that's comfortable for you.
And breaking the addiction to the mirror. So
Yes.
we had chatted about this prior to hitting record, and it so resonated with me. Can you share your addiction to the mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So full length mirror. I actually called it full length mirror trauma before we started recording, because that's for me what it feels like. I was absolutely addicted. I more so in all of my life outside of the studio, I was still addicted to finding a reflection and looking at myself everywhere, because it had just become such a behavior to do in class. And so that's another reason I'm really excited to bring it in this space, in an area that doesn't have a room full of full-length mirrors, because I don't want it to be about people looking at themselves saying, I don't like how I look doing this, because that's how I personally danced most of the time. If I had a mirror, it was to pick apart. And I want, I'm ready to step myself into a space where I allow myself to move how it feels right to move, not based on what it looks like. And I really want to invite others to explore that for themselves as well, and get a great workout and feel awesome and have endorphins and all that fun stuff too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a
I'm
really
gonna
great way for me to take, something I've loved for 30 years and put a little twist on it and find my own niche to keep this going, but just in a healing, really a healing capacity for me. And I would love it to be a healing space for others.
I love it. I need to share this, and this spoke so much to me. I don't know if you can relate to it, but this addiction to the mirror made its way not only into the studio, but it was for me also outside. When you said you checked yourself in anything, that was giving you a reflection in, even if it was a glass door or a glass window or a mirror in a car where you could check out your eyebrows if they're perfect. I was definitely looking at it. And quite honestly, I still do at times, where I just have to, hey, feel how you feel and don't make it dependent on how you look.
Yeah.
Because that's big, you know? So it is the permission to let go of all of these old stories and making new ones, the ones that are empowering, not the ones that are dimming your light.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, how was your week?
Oh, freaking mind blowing.
Yes.
So I was 2 days in complete learning mode with a virtual event through Lori and Chris Harder and the Fast Foundation Mastermind. And you know how it is when you are immersed in like a container that where like information is just thrown at you and you're like, brace yourself and you can hardly take it all in and you're anxious and nervous and you don't want to share and all of your old stories are coming up. I didn't have it this time. I was so freaking relaxed. With that came, oh, I can actually take more stuff in. I had like a running document on my computer that, hey, I can go back because these sessions are recorded. If I am tired and I can't take anything in, go lie down, go meditate, go do what you need to do so you are ready. Embody the energy that you want to attract. I remember hearing it at every event that I've ever gone to with Lori and Chris was, this is a safe container. If you want to practice how to fail, this is the container to do so. This is a safe space. So I heard all of this, but I didn't know what that meant.
Mm.
Like I couldn't translate it into Susie language and Susie feeling. Okay. And I woke up on Saturday morning. I was like, oh my God. I actually, for the first time, felt safe, like truly safe as me, as a businesswoman, as a mother, as everything that I am. I felt safe. And serendipitously, I had a call scheduled with a good friend of mine who also is a trauma healer. And I said, hey, listen, so this came up and I was wondering, and she's like, oh, why you haven't felt safe? Like, yeah, I didn't even know. And what does that actually bring into your world, right? When you don't feel safe. And so we were exploring that. And then she asked me, okay, when did that start? I was like, oh, my inner toddler was screaming. And she's like, no, I don't want to go back there. I didn't even know where. And we went far, far back. Man, did we go far back. I was like 3 or 4 years old.
That's where
yeah. And I can only we did not get to the point where I could just let it all go or refeel it because there's so much resistance there. But now I know. Like I had that shit was so far down there, I didn't even have access to it anymore. but I asked myself the right questions. I got in front of people who are able to ask me more questions that would trigger more things. So it's still all really fresh, but I have this sense of I'm fucking invincible. And I usually don't swear, like it's all just coming out now in every which way. I was able to give very clear directions today on my Connect call with my virtual assistant. I have a very clear line in front of me what Rise Media actually is going to look like and what we need to implement and who I need right now. And that was a day, Christy. So the lesson here is that even if we're going through the swamp and it feels awful and it stinks in every possible way, you put your very first foot on solid ground again, it feels like heaven.
Yeah.
And these up and downs are so important. Like I am leaving my family for 2 months or more, right? Now, anybody who is even remotely a mother to a child or to furry babies or is in relationships with others, we all know what kind of a drain that could have on the partner or even on your own, not worth, but maybe just like guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I don't feel it. Now I can come from it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like this whole dimming my light, being scared, not feeling worth. I now know where it originates from. And now I can go back and release all of that.
Mm. I love that you just said that because this is, have you read this? Have you read this book?
I haven't finished it yet, but it's so.
Well, this is definitely not a cover to cover book. This is,
no.
You got to read 10 pages and ingest it. But Jay and I literally have been diving through this book for the last like 3 years. And that's what that's what a lot of the work we've done is to go that. I mean, it all stems from something or many things that happened way like before we even remember, but that's how far back we've got to go to let it go. So,
and sometimes it's even in our teenage years or early 20s, there's a lot more to discover there.
yes.
However, it's like, I wasn't feeling safe in ballet school, or I wasn't feeling safe when I was in a company or when I came to America, or I wasn't feeling safe as a kid either.
Yeah.
And you may wonder how this ties actually in today's topic. And I didn't want to say and if we don't feel safe in who we are, the 2 feet that we're standing in, the permission to make mistakes, if we don't feel safe that it's okay, you will never ever start selling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start with like taking apart what selling actually means, because you and I know, coming from the industry and then stepping into running our own businesses, what that process actually looks like. Because I am to this day, and actually today is the first really true day where I feel like, I can actually, let's do this. Yeah, let's ask for the money. Let's do this. Yeah, I don't really care what they think of me. But that's a process, right? And we are in our own way. That selling means being sleazy. That selling means you want to run them over or just take their money and you don't have anything to offer, because that's maybe what you've seen happening to your parents, or this is something that you experienced your own self, or you heard your friends say this is how they perceive selling. So let's start with, what was your perception of selling yourself? Let's start there.
Sure. I'll reference it to the industry first, because even before I had my own business, I was very aware that being in entertainment, that's part of it. Like, we don't have the liberty of really being an employee, even if we are comfortable in a company setting, we still have to present ourselves in a certain way, because when we're contractual, things can change like that. So we have to present ourselves in a certain way in this industry, uh, because there's lots of us. And if we want to continue working, even if we're in a company that, could roll over contractually, and you can renegotiate another contract, you might not get offered that contract. So we're always presenting ourselves in a way that is technically like selling who we are. It matters what our behavior is like. Are we disciplined? Are we always prepared for rehearsals? All those things go into that, in my perspective, of what we have to do in this industry to sell ourselves. And it's a way of, how do you present yourself? What do you bring of value? And what gifts do you have to bring to the world? So that could be industry wide, or just really in any business. We all have value. So it's know our value, know what our package is to present, and then bring our gifts to the world and show up as the best version of ourselves in the capacity that we're able to in any given day.
I love that so much, because not many people look at selling as offering value.
Yeah.
I had the privilege to listen to Dean Graziosi. Lori and Chris had invited him. They're neighbors, apparently. And he was talking about selling. And he was in a very kind of open, like there was no filters whatsoever. That if we don't sell, we're doing the people that need us a disservice. If we don't share what we are great at and taking money for that, we are doing other people a disservice. He said something so important. So he said, if you missed out on Bitcoin and on that whole investing in it and understanding how it's going, the knowledge industry is your new chance and to become filthy rich. And as in filthy, he said, in a good way, so you can actually give back. He, for example, doesn't need to work anymore. Like he set his family, his family's family, everything. But he does that because he has value to offer. He wants to change the world. That's his purpose. And he would not live in his purpose if he wouldn't be selling his knowledge, his inventory, the package that he is. Right. Knowledge is the new currency.
Yes.
And I found that so and I'm trying to look for something. He said, oh yeah, the knowledge industry is a $1 billion a day currency exchange right now, or energy exchange. Let's just pull it that way. And he also said something that is so true. If we don't pay for something, like everybody that shows up for free stuff, they're not committed. Not saying that free stuff isn't great and you can learn it, but when you pay for something, you show up differently. You have a little bit more of a different intention behind it. Okay. So when we are shifting ourselves from that every day, we're selling ourselves, and that is okay. It is nothing dirty. I want to take off that old story that we have behind, all the dirty things that selling may have brought with you. It is in our hands to change that story. Our perception on how we see selling is going to change the way you're going to show up. And that is really the whole secret. If you don't feel comfortable in speaking about the way you are and what you have to offer and show up that way every single day, then you will see selling equals yuckiness. And when you change that perception of, hey, I am here because I am so glorious and I have something here that will serve somebody else out there to cut their learning curve in half, to save them
time in between. So when we're not caring about who we are and what we're actually capable of, that is when selling becomes yucky, right? When we're making it about ourselves, then it becomes yucky and not second nature. So please take the wheel.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say is that feeling comes when we make it about ourselves. So if we hold on to the energy that first we have to have the worth to believe that we have value. That's first. So once we have that, even in a little capacity, when we can come from the perspective and the energy of the value, that's where you stay heart-centered. That's where you stay on mission. It's when we start to have those self-doubts or that unworthiness and that hesitation about what somebody might perceive us as, we've now turned the tables completely to ourselves, and the value just can't be presented in its best capacity because the energy is literally pointing at you and not the other person.
Oh, love it. And can we also go so far as saying, hey, artists make it about themselves all the time?
I at least my perspective from my experience, I made it all about myself. It was all about myself. I didn't feel good about myself. So every second I could, I was trying to pull from the industry to feed the ego, my ego, that didn't feel good enough. So I presented myself. I sold myself pretty well, actually, while I was dancing, but it was completely driven by this facade of arrogance, really, because I turned that dial up so that I wouldn't get so nervous or I wouldn't worry so much about everybody else in the room. So then I turned that that snooty part of me up, and I cranked that as hard as I could. And that's how I sold myself.
And that's also kind of a reaction that I can so relate to, because all your insecurities, everything that we didn't want to show or thought other people would see as weaknesses, were hidden behind that snootiness. I was called arrogant, totally, that wall on that label. So that's when all of these things come together, I want you to go back and see, and with that I mean our listeners, that really look at that you are your own product. It doesn't matter if you have been, contracted for one show or one gig or for, a lifetime at a theater. Like, it doesn't matter. You are always in your own, you are the CEO of your own business. And that brings back a lot of responsibilities. And that includes also how to sell your product. So here's the thing that I learned. It's not the best product that sells. No. It's the one that knows exactly how to market themselves. Not the loudest. It's the one that's the most authentic. The one that is the truest to themselves, that is the most excited about what they have to sell and to offer, and the one that believes full-heartedly, and let that sink in. Full-heartedly means that you do not have one doubt in your mind that what you have to offer will change somebody else's life. Was that last week when we talked about, a few weeks ago, I think, about behaviors of successful people? And one of the behaviors was being enthusiastic about what you have to offer. This ties back in. So it is not about that you're the best. You do not have to be the best at your craft. You just have to be convinced that who you are is the very best that you can be. And with that, you will change somebody else's lives. And let's take that into, well, I'm a dancer and I don't change anybody's lives. Well, you're wrong. If that is your thought pattern, I dare you to rewrite that. Because you do change somebody else's life.
Mhm.
You are in a position to change the girl that's standing next to you. You are in the position to change the director that's sitting in front of you, their perception or their thought patterns by the way how you show up.
Mhm.
You can change the people that are in the theater, that are looking at you, that feeding off of the energy that you're giving them.
Mhm.
And when you get to that point, you're removing yourself, your ego, you're removing all of your fears because it no longer is about yourself. And then you will actually feel that selling yourself, as the word selling, has nothing to do what you believe it is. It has everything to do with offering value and receiving energy, or, we can't eat from energy. This is where money, this is our energy exchange. That is where we're putting value on. That's what you're getting back.
Mhm. Yeah. And even looking back on my dance years, if the theaters or companies were affiliated with pre-professional programs, those little ones idolized us. They idolized us. So like they watch your every move. They watch what you're doing off stage too, because they think that you're fantastic. And we had membership. I can't recall what the word is fleeting me right now, but members that, not of the board, but they were patrons that contributed to the theaters, and they were very loyal, and they donated lots of money to the theaters every single year. They loved coming to the shows. They loved seeing repeated people in different shows, and they started to like really fall in love with certain performers. And so, yeah, the people you don't even know think so highly of you that you might have never even met them, but if they repeatedly come to your shows, if they love your company and they come to every new premiere, you might never know that person, but they idolize you, they love you, and you light up their night when you are on stage. So that's been my experience. Like, I've had impact on people. People have come up to me and I had no idea that like that happens, or parents of their kids come up to me and I had no idea.
I love that. It's a
Yeah.
responsibility that we're taking on as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. Hey, now let's see. If you may ask yourself now, so how can I get comfortable with selling? um, you never. No. Um, here's the thing. Stop feeling addicted to feeling, or stop being addicted to actually feel good.
Mm.
That would be my very first advice or action step. Like, release that need to consistently feel good. Because it's a lie. It's not true. Life ebbs and flows. And sometimes we're so addicted to the drama that we don't even realize that we're actually feeling good in the drama. Okay. So when I say stop feeling addicted to feeling good or being addicted to feeling good, here's what I mean. In order to really unearth everything that holds you back from showing up as your higher self, and with that, having the possibility to step out all of these stories that you've taken in over the course of your life, and that includes the fear of selling and the addiction to pleasing everybody else around you and not stepping into your purpose fully. That's where I would start. Like, it's you have to go and swim upstream so far until you can uncover all of this. And there will be seasons where you feel great and you feel pumped with self-esteem that you can do it. Showing up on stage is an act of selling.
Mm.
You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you've trained for your entire life. So why can't you show up like that every single day? for yourself, not for everybody else. Show up like that for yourself every single day. And then let's talk about how you can monetize that, because that's where it starts. Again, here we go again, even if that sounds like a broken record, but everything that you want literally starts with you taking action first. Nobody's going to hand it to you.
Yeah. I mean, that's where the value comes in too, is, you know, we have to first see our value.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I say it every single episode because it really does. It's a personal inner journey. And until we get humble and really take a look inside of ourselves about what our behaviors are, you know, there's always going to be some pain. Like, because until you do that, inevitably, no matter how you've grown up, where you've lived in the world, we all grow up and have some pain. So until we get humble with that, take a look at it and decide whether we want to keep holding on to it and acting through it. That's really where the value starts, where it's not coming from external sources, where you're not constantly chasing. The reason you feel good is because it's coming from someone or something else. When you can take a look at yourself, that's when you can start to have it, like you said, come from you. But it doesn't just happen. It happens when we are okay to turn the mirror facing us and really take a look at, you know, what isn't serving us anymore. And do we feel, I had the biggest, strongest story about how I was so confident and I was like, everything was so great. I'm so happy, but I wasn't. It was all a fake. And it was all coming from, you know, all the external accolades. It wasn't coming from me feeling good. I didn't feel good without that. I needed the recognition.
Yeah.
So that's where it starts.
I want to share like a quick realization that I had last night in the middle of the night. So if anybody of you follow my stories, my husband and my dog, who sleep in my bed, they both snore.
Oh, no.
Okay. So, and last night was a particularly bad night in snoring. Like both of them were just sawing the whole tree line down. And I literally laid there for 2 hours listening to it, hoping that they would stop. 2 hours. I was like, and then I just at 3:30 a.m., I'm like, seriously, Susie, you really putting your power in two people that are sound asleep and you're not taking responsibility here. So I was like, oh, maybe I could leave my cozy bed, take my blankie and my pillow and get on that beautiful couch that is sitting in our living room that feels just as comfortable. And nobody's snoring there. And I won't hear it. So it was just an inkling of me just understanding, oh my gosh, I used to live my entire life like this.
Yeah.
I didn't take any responsibility for anything or anybody, or I waited to get permission for somebody to tell me to anything, how to feel, how to show up, what to say, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And, but having that realization lying in bed in the middle of the night because I couldn't stand the concert anymore, was like, wow, why am I not getting up? Why am I'm in a victim mode and say, well, it's not my fault that they're snoring. Well, no, it's not. But where my power comes back to me is, am I lying there for 2 hours and wait until they stop? Or am I going to take action and say, hey, I love you both so dearly, snore away, and I'm just going to remove myself. But that's the difference, where we take our power back when we release the expectation for others to do our job.
Oh, oh my God, I love it.
In taking responsibility on how we want to feel.
Yeah.
Right. And if I decide to, hey, take all of my sleep
I'm giving it away freely. And with that, I'm also giving away freely my next day and how I feel and how I'm going to show up and how the people that I influence and that want to learn from me are going to perceive me. If I want to give all of that away, then just keep lying here, Susie. But if you want to lead a whole shit ton of people, if you really want to make a difference, then it starts with me. It
Mm.
starts with me at 3:30 a.m. in my bed, not making it about myself, but actually making it about myself in how I take care of myself, in how I show up, how I remove my ego off of my plate and move to the couch. And that, my friends, is exactly the same with selling. You can sit there and say, well, they didn't hire me. They didn't want me. I wasn't good enough for them. They treated me poorly. Or you take freaking responsibility for who you want to be, how you want to show up, how you want to feel, how you want to live your life, what your career looks like. You let go of the stories that the industry is just that way and I have to be like that. Bullshit. You do not. I dare you to show up differently. Like that change, that energy change that we're experiencing right now, it starts with you. Like the more people that are tapping into that, the more people that are finding their power and standing on their own 2 feet and deciding 100% how they want to show up and how they want to feel, that's how the industry is going to change. Nobody can dim your light. They can try. They're gonna put, make their fingers wet and try to touch that. And sometimes they even take it out. And you have all the power in yourself. You have the network around you to light that candle back up. So stop complaining. You can do anything you set your mind to. And you can sell. It's not dirty, it's fun. What would it look like if it would be fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm going to drop your mic on that one.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
I'm fire today.
I listened to myself in a podcast that I recorded with somebody else in January.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't believe that I was saying these words because I couldn't feel these words that were coming out.
Wow.
I did not feel them. I don't know where they came from. And she voice messaged me. It's like, yeah, I knew that was your higher self. I knew you couldn't feel that yet, or you couldn't embody it yet. But I can see that you can now, and the journey that you were on. And man, it is so
I just got
powerful.
goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to be with you every week because I feel it too with you. It's really beautiful to see.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And it's not about learning new things, right? It's
No.
about releasing.
Yeah. And what I am coming at the perspective with now is a lot of it is remembering. Like we already are. We already are everything.
Yeah.
We already are everything that we want. We just don't remember.
Yeah. Yes. We choose to forget because that feels safer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, we're not presented a world either that tells us that. So that what I just said very much goes against what most of us have been presented in life, for sure.
For sure. And now more and more people are giving us the permission to know, right?
I do.
And we have the choice to affiliate with these people with the new ideas. It is on you to be courageous enough to understand that that is your next step. Like if you want to get out of the back row, if you want to get away from feeling crappy and fearful and tired and overworked and burnt out all the time, then it's time you put yourself into not only the front row. I want you to stand center stage. I want everybody to see you. And that won't happen until you see yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was a good
one.
one.
I was gonna say I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna try.
So choose yourself first, honestly.
Beautiful. You
Honestly,
beautifully.
whatever that looks like. Yes. Okay. We're sending you guys so much love. Thank you so much
today. This is so good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting outside of your comfort zone gives you permission to find your inner fire, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Wrapping it up. Thank you guys for listening so much. If anything of this documentary, wow, I'm already in a new movie.
We're really going. Yeah.
We are still going that way.
Yes.
If anything of this documentary resonated with you, please don't hesitate to share. It is the biggest gift you can give us as a replication. Not knowing what the word is. Our biggest gift to see what resonates with you, how we are impacting you with being so vulnerable. And don't believe this is easy. Like, this is definitely not something that came natural to either of us. And yeah, can't wait to talk to you very soon, guys. Mwah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If this message resonates with you, please pass it on to someone who needs to hear this right now. And if you like what you've heard, your feedback will go a very long way. If you just take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, that would mean the world to me. Till next time, point at yourself to rise to all that you are capable of.